Do any of you know who Obsidian Entertainment is? It's a game developer that recently produced a few games that I'm not going to talk about, but a while ago they actually made a game called Fallout New Vegas. They were hired to do this by the larger company Bethesda, and a lot of people seem to really like that game. A lot of people will actually argue it is one of the best RPGs ever made, and without a doubt the best Fallout ever made. You may disagree with that, you may agree with that, but either way, the thing to take home here is Fallout New Vegas was a very well made game. Maybe not on release, but a couple months after release, it was without a doubt one of the best RPGs at the time. Things you could do in that game, things that were possible in that world space, are really not even possible today in some of the modern games. It truly was innovative and forward thinking and continues to hold its value. The reason I'm telling you all this is because I believe Obsidian Entertainment is going back to that style of game. They're trying to create a new Fallout New Vegas without it actually being a Fallout. Obviously, there's one major news event that came out as of late, and that's going to be the new trademark details for the Outer Worlds. These were filed by Obsidian Entertainment and is for a new game. There's actually 4 individual trademarks filed, and they cover various things, but all of them really pertaining to a new video game, and that's why you should be excited. Before we get into the speculation, let's actually look at some of the facts. What we know is that Obsidian is working on a new game, and it's going to be their biggest game yet. We know this from a Eurogamer interview. They did a walkthrough of Obsidian's offices, and they were kind of just mentioning how they were very excited for the current thing they are working on, and that it was actually their largest game as of yet, which would be beating out Fallout New Vegas and some of their South Park games. Granted, largest can be defined in a number of different ways, whether that be file size or amount of staff or money behind it is, well, open to debate. The people said to be at the head of this new game are Tim Kaine and Leonard Boyarsky. These people are notable for actually creating the Fallout series. They're the minds behind the original Fallout game. If you've never seen that game though, it is very different than the modern Fallout games. That was a top-down game, it was still an RPG, and still really intuitive. And a very dynamic game like the modern Fallouts, but kind of different in the same right. Either way, they're very talented and they have produced some great stuff since then, but really Fallout is their most notable thing, at least in my eyes. In addition, there's actually some rumors, and this is not a fact, that Chris Avellone is back at Obsidian. This is one of the head guys behind Fallout New Vegas. So those are some of the minds behind it. There's obviously a ton of other people on Obsidian staff, and we may never even know the full scope of who's working on this. But the point I'm trying to make is to be excited. A lot of these people worked on your favorite Fallouts, maybe even some of your not so favorite Fallouts. In addition, they actually did mention that some of the head guys working on this game were playing Fallout New Vegas as inspiration. The CEO of Obsidian actually mentioned this in an interview a while back. That doesn't necessarily say much. It's obviously not going to be a new Fallout game. We know that pretty much for a fact right now. The reason that's to be excited about is if it's going to be anything like Fallout New Vegas or a new open world RPG, hopefully with modding support, you should be excited. The last factoid we do know is this is actually being published by Private Division. This is going to be a subsidiary of Take-Two, the larger game publisher. It's interesting because Private Division is otherwise a fairly small publisher. Many of the companies under them that they are publishing are pretty indie or have nothing released yet. One of the 3 or 4 is Squad, the creators behind Kerbal Space Program, a very popular indie game, but still an indie game, nothing like the scale that this project apparently is undertaking. And that all brings us to today, or really the end of January, when this trademark was filed, but the news is really only breaking as of recently, or at least people are only starting to talk about it now. So the latest news is again that the trademark has been filed on the title The Outer Worlds. There's a book titled The Outer Worlds, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be any connection between the two. This due to the way the trademarks were filed. They kind of seems like it's a totally new IP and no relation to the book. And that's the end of the factual portion of this video, but now let's get into the speculative part. I mentioned earlier how Obsidian kind of mentioned that they were playing Fallout New Vegas in order to get prepared for this new game. I think that's a major indicator as to what this game is going to be all about. Obsidian is most well known for a game that came out, almost 10 years ago at this point? There's a reason for that, because people like those style of games, open world RPGs where you do have a first or third person perspective. Some of Obsidian's more recent top-down or CRPGs are cool, but they don't appeal to as wide of an audience. They're just not nearly as generalizable. I personally haven't played any of them, and I'm pretty into the games industry. If there really is so much money behind this, I think it's only safe to assume that Obsidian's going to go back to what it's known for and what people are going to buy their games. That being first and foremost an RPG, but even beyond that, a first or third person RPG, hopefully one that's open world. So no, it's not going to be a new Fallout, it's obviously not going to be a new Skyrim, but I think whatever this is, the Outer Worlds, it's something to be excited for. It's going to be something that we know and want from Obsidian, And they definitely innovated with Fallout New Vegas, so hopefully we'll see only more innovation here. As far as the title goes, the Outer Worlds definitely seem like something that could be sci-fi based, whether that mean it's going to be something that's space based or even futuristic, or something that's pretty ancient, like a similar setting to Skyrim or some other RPG like that. I mean, I think you could go either way, but it doesn't really sound like something that's only in the near future. It definitely sounds like it's going to be distinctively different from modern times, but I could totally be wrong. Again, that's all speculation. There's really not much conversation going on about this. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say or are thinking about this in the comments down below. As always, I thank you guys for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want to see my last coverage of Obsidian's new game and some of the other details, you can click on the screen right now. But with that, as always, again, I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys all next time. Later.